Good morning and welcome to day 4. This is day 4 of 30 Days Live with Molly Trotter Gomez, and I am so excited to be live with you yet again this morning. Day 3 was powerful. We really dove into the topic of finishing up the 10 different principles of stewardship. So amazing. I actually got a call from a really good friend of mine of, no way, you're talking about stewardship. I'm preaching on stewardship. Like, send me your notes. And isn't it funny? Like the same kinds of topics will stir up amongst people. And then they're like, no way, look at what happened here. So I absolutely love that. If you have not watched day 1 through 3, you can go ahead and catch the replays here on Facebook. They're on LinkedIn. And then I am creating a playlist every single day. So there's a playlist for all of the lives on YouTube. Might be the easiest way for you to be able to check them all out. So anyways, I'm very excited to dive in on stewardship yet again, but this time we're going to be diving into stewarding your current season. Now, when it comes to the word stewardship, we'll probably talk about this every day as long as stewardship is the topic, right? Stewardship, usually people will use that word when it comes to finances, but we get to steward a lot of things, including the season that we're currently in. So a couple different seasons that I'll share from personal experience, and maybe you can relate to this right now or at some point, is stewarding the season of singleness. Maybe you're dating, engaged, married, a season of stretching, growth, of change, abundance, or even in a wilderness season. And I'm going to even go over what is a wilderness season, like what is the definition of that? Because a lot of you have maybe heard the term, maybe not. Maybe you're just trying to put words to whatever season that you're in. But regardless, I want you to really just take hold of what season am I in? Not where do I want to be, but what season am I currently in? Like, do a self audit. Where are things that you are like, you know what? I've been avoiding that. We got to work on that. Or God just keeps showing me this thing and it keeps popping up. And guess what? He will have it keep popping up and he will have it keep circling the same mountain until the lesson is learned. So now is a good time to press in. And so when it comes to stewarding the season that you're in, a lot of people are like, but I just want to wait. I just want to focus on the next. We've talked about this in a couple of the previous lives that we've done so far of a lot of people are just waiting for the next. Like, I'm over the now. The now is great, cool, but what about the next? So let me ask you this question. Why are you so concerned with living for tomorrow when today is right in front of you? Why are you so concerned with living tomorrow when today is right in front of you? Now, I can 100% speak on personal experience here because there was a lot of me where I was like a planner. Like, I mean, 6 months, year, a couple years out, like I was just like, let me plan my whole thing. Any other planners out there? Any other planners are like, I want to be able to have this control over my schedule completely, right? Like, there are parts where we do get control, but then there's a lot of parts where we don't. And I was so consumed with planning for my future, which isn't always a bad thing, but it did become somewhat of an idol of like, okay, I'm planning for this, I'm planning for this, I'm planning for this until, gosh, I don't even know. I couldn't even give you a start date, but there was a point in time where the Lord's like, you're not even going to be able to plan for the next like hour from now. You're not even going to be able to plan for the next day, for the week. Like, it literally brought me to a moment by moment by moment. And that is hard from a planner who did 6 months to a year plus out to go moment by moment. But here's what I realized. And this is for all my planners out there. Or maybe you are experiencing something like I have, where you are in that moment by moment season. What I was missing out on when I was planning all these months in advance is I was living for the future, not living for the moment. And I was missing so many moments of either personal reflection, growth, appreciating loved ones around me, what's happening around me. There was always this like lack of like, okay, well, this is good, but I want more, but I want more and I want more. Anybody else ever been there? Like, type me in the chat if you've ever been that I want more and that is your focus. Now, I hear you because I think we all want more. That's just in our human nature. Like, give us more. But how are you going to get the more if you don't steward what you have right now? Because if you can't steward the season, specifically is what we're talking about today, the season that you're in right now, how are you going to steward what's coming? If you can't appreciate what you have right now, how can you appreciate truly what's coming? So for years, decades, actually, I could even say this, decades, I was so consumed with the future, 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 future that I was not really settling into. There are so many gifts in the present that I am not stewarding. So let's talk about some of these that I mentioned earlier. Singleness. So in my single season, before I even had like a single season, I was what you would call a relationship hopper. I was just from one to the next, to the next, to the next, literally searching for love in all the wrong places. And guess what? I kept attracting people that would, unfortunately, I must have had a sign on my forehead that said cheat on me, because pretty much every single person I was with cheated on me. And I'm like, what is going on? Right. So I kept attracting the same ick. And I didn't even have a backbone for boundaries until I was like, I woke up one day, I'm like, you know what? We gotta pause this. The common denominator is me. Not that I deserve to be cheated on, but actually, we're not going to put a but at the end of that. I did not deserve to be cheated on, period. No but. I was like, I need to take time for myself and learn. When I had a single season of about like a year and a half, I did a lot of self discovery. Not all of that super healthy, I will be honest, but there was a lot of self discovery of like, why don't I have a boundary here? Why am I searching for this here? Like, what am I actually looking for? And truthfully, trying to have these men that I was dating heal parts of me that was never their responsibility in the first place. It was my responsibility. So I ended up really stewarding as best I could at the time my single season of, okay, Lord, it's you and me. It's you and me. And in that season, that's where I truly like found my relationship with the Lord. Because I grew up a Christian my whole life, but never really had like a true, deep, personal connection. A lot of religion out there puts you in their box and then you just check off their boxes, and then there's no real deep connection. And when I was in my single season, that's where I really dove in deep, and I stewarded that time of like, okay, Lord, like, if you're real, like, not even if you're real, I knew he was real. It was more so like, let's do this thing. I want to dive in deep. That's more like it. It was more like that. And a lot of people don't take the time to do that because they're medicating through relationship hopping, drugs, alcohol, distraction, whatever, right? Even being distracted by their feelings. They're going to let their feelings feed them rather than, let's the first and foremost, the word of God. But then outside of that, mentors or people that can pour into them. So stewarding that single season, I knew was important because I was like, I'm so over like these men I'm attracting. Like, what is going on? Like, this is crazy. This was in my like mid 20s. So stewarding the single season for all my singles out there. My husband and I have talked to a lot of singles that are just, in this season, they're frustrated. Some have given up or they say they have, and we're like, please don't. They're just like, oh, it's so hard to date and find people out there. Well, maybe the reason you haven't found that person is because there is something that you need to heal, unlock, and really dig down deep in your season of singleness. That's just the first thing that comes up for me. You get to go to your quiet time and figure that part out, but steward that season. Don't be grumbling and disgruntled and frustrated and wishing the season would move by, because that is just going to make the process so hard. I've had moments of that where I'm like, oh my gosh. Well, guess what? When you have the, oh my gosh kind of attitude, it just makes things drag on and it makes it a lot harder than it needs to be. So stewarding that season for those that are single is so important, because before you get to meet your future mate, meet your future partner, your spouse, your husband, your wife, like, you get to become a whole version of yourself, a whole version of yourself. It's not that the other person's completing you. You're bringing another person into your life so you can make your life even better. And there's more growth and more opportunity in that, right? And more connection, more love, all the things. But you get to become a whole person before that next person comes. And it wasn't until I really became like not 100%, but a pretty whole person that all of a sudden, bloop, here comes my husband. In walks Johnny. That's a whole nother story. Whole nother story. But it wasn't until I became way more complete and healed a lot on my own that the Lord's like, okay, you're ready. You are ready. And I'm like, oh, great. Awesome. Here we are. So stewarding a singleness season. I feel like that's a word for a lot of people that are single right now. Now, stewarding relationships, whether you are dating, engaged, married, like stewarding the season that you're in. Now, marriage, I believe, like I'm definitely not planning on getting divorced, and I want to have one husband the rest of my life. I know not everybody is in that boat. Zero judgment from here. Everybody has a different story, past, all the things. But stewarding that relationship that you're in, right? Stewarding that person, the moments you have with them. So when you're dating, one of the things I did with my husband when we were dating is we got to like some really deep conversation really quick. Because I said, you know what? I don't want to waste a whole bunch of time like I did in the past. If he's not on board with some of these key things that are my non-negotiables, like it's just not going to work out. I do not have time to waste. And we were aligned on a lot of these key non-negotiables. And I was like, okay. And this is literally like like in the first 5 dates, like literally in the first 5 dates. How do you want to school our kids? Obviously I knew he was a believer. What do you believe in this? How do you believe in that? How do you feel we should go through this, go through that? Like, what are your thoughts about taking risks? Like, being an entrepreneur, I'm like, I need to know. Like, there are a lot of things. And so stewarding those conversations when we were dating to when we got engaged, a lot of these big conversations that I know there's so many people, they don't even have them until they get married. And I'm like, oh, please have those sooner than later. And if that is not the person for you, like because they don't agree on a non-negotiable, like, okay, that's okay. It's okay to start over. I used to be terrified of starting over. So it took me so long and I went through a lot of heartache dating the wrong people that did teach me valuable lessons. And so then when I got to a point where I met my now husband, I was stewarding each moment of like, okay, I'm going to steward this moment. I'm not waiting for the future. Like I have a couple years with this guy because I've heard the tale of you need to be dating somebody for 2 years before you get married or even get engaged. And I'm like, no, it's not taking me 2 years. I've dated way too many times for that. My husband and I, we were friends before we got married for about 6 to 8 months, but we were dating, engaged, and married in 11 months. Obviously, no, we didn't get pregnant. A lot of people, when that happened, they're like, what, is she pregnant? I'm like, nope, not pregnant. We just knew. We just knew. We did a lot of work on ourselves and we just knew because we stewarded the time when we were single. We stewarded the time when we were dating. And then now, obviously, we're stewarding the time when we were married. So for all my married couples out there, or even this could go for dating couples too, like when you're dating, you have to be able to like show up and date that person that you're with. But people that are married, date your spouse, be intentional. Show that there is an effort, not just like, hey, I put the ring on your finger, we're good, but show that like, I want to fawn after you. I want to show you that you're a priority. I want to show you what you mean to me, like in action. Words are great, but actions speak louder, right? And it could be something little. Like I know if my husband comes home with ice cream, I'm like, oh, you see me. I know if he comes home with my favorite, don't judge me, but this is real, chicken strip and fry basket from one of my favorite restaurants, I'm like, oh my gosh, you see me. Like there's certain things where I'm like, you see me. And these are things that are like, pertaining to me. But at the end of the day, like actions speak louder. And I'm not asking for like a big diamond, whatever, blah, 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 big trip, whatever. Sure, those are nice. I'm asking for the little things. Like the little things add up. And a lot of times we get stuck on that. I can't do this grand gesture. Therefore, maybe I'll wait. And I've been stuck on that too. I remember that there was a year, and I wish I had it on my bookshelf, but I think it's in my husband's office. There was a year where I couldn't afford to get my husband a gift. Literally, we couldn't afford it. So you know what I did? I went down to like Rite Aid or something. I got like this little like picture album, whatever, where you could stick like 5x7 pictures in it. I got flashcards and I wrote on the flashcards, and basically they were daily reminders of how much I love you. Didn't have money for anything. That was like, I don't know, like a $7, $10 gift or whatever. But you know what it did? It's something that sits on his desk that he can look at any time. And it's not, I mean, I'm not, hey, are you looking at this? Like, it's there for him anytime. And I know that meant a lot to him because it took time. And when it comes to creating gifts like that, that is not my forte. I'd rather buy something, y'all. But I was like, this is all I have. I stewarded what I had and gave him what I could that he'll keep forever, and had my little chicken scratch writing on it of the best that I could to remind him how grateful I am for so many different things. So I stewarded that. So, that is something, right? Like I was like, I can't believe I'm doing this right now. But at the same time, I'm like, you know what? He's gonna treasure this forever. May not be what I want to get him, but is it about me? No, it's about him and the day of his birthday and to be able to appreciate him. So when it comes to marriage, a lot of times it's like show that extra effort, show that like I want to be there's a word that I'm looking for and it's just escaping me. It's going to hit me right after we're done with this live, but basically just show that intentionality. Show that intentionality of like I want to steward this marriage and I want to steward the time that we have together regardless if the other person does it for you. Regardless if the other person does it for you, you do it for them because you care about them. And we treat people the way we want to be treated, regardless if they treat us that way, right? So there are a couple things when it comes to stewardship, when it comes to relationship and the season that you're currently in. Because a lot of times we can look at the season being like, oh, I wish it was this, I wish it was that. Well, there's a reason why you're here right now. So asking, what do I need to learn in this season? And be open and be patient and be willing and obedient to go there on the things you don't want to do. Now, stewarding the season that you're in, it could be a stretching, growth season, change, wilderness season. These all are kind of somewhat similar. Now, with growth and change, like, you know, if you're like me, I love growing, I love changing, I love evolving. Like, I'm just like, yes, if you're not growing, you're dying. If I'm not uncomfortable, like, I'm comfortable being uncomfortable. So if I'm not uncomfortable, I'm like, what's going on? You know, being uncomfortable and having peace can definitely coexist, just so you know. Just so you know. But I want to be in a stretching. I want to be in growth. And maybe things are great in business, but I need to work on something in my marriage. Maybe things are great in my marriage, but I need to work on something personally. Maybe my fitness is amazing, but my mindset right now is trash. Like there are always different things that you could be growing in. Maybe there's relationships that you've kind of pushed away because you're like, you're kind of hard. You're kind of hard to love and it kind of takes a lot or what have you. Press in to check on them anyways. There's a lot of different, relationships in my life where I usually will be the one to reach out and be like, hey, how's it going? Checking in because I want to. And I get people saying like, you do a great job of like just checking it. I need to do a better job at that. And I'm like, this is just who I am. And, there's been times where the enemy's tried to play my own mind against me where it's like, well, how come they don't do that to you? And then I'm like, well, yeah, how come? And I was like, no, we're not going there. If you want to see how this person is doing, do it. Who cares whatever you get in return? Show that person that you love them, check in on them, and use time, which is the most precious commodity that we have, to go check in on those other people. So anyways, back to growth. Like your girl is an entrepreneur. I love growth. Love being like, how can I stretch? How can I stretch? How can I grow? One of the most challenging growth years I've ever had was when I had a year that my capacity just like ripped wide open. I had that word for the year. I don't really pick words for the year anymore. I'm just like, nah, I'm over it. I am over it. I'm just like, Lord, you just show me. I don't need to pick a word and everything fits in that word. Like you show me where I need to grow, what the word or where I need to grow is. But capacity was the word. And praying for expanded capacity is like praying for patience. Literally some of the worst prayers. And I mean that. It's like, watch out. It is going to be difficult. It's not going to be like, oh, this is great. Give me more. It's like you have to be ready to steward the more. And you know what that takes? That takes a lot of pruning and just dying to self of certain desires because there's a testing that has to come along with it. And with that testing, speaking of current seasons, wilderness, I want to bring up the definition of a wilderness season because I wish somebody told me more about a wilderness season. Now, for those that love the Lord and are in the Word, in the Bible, there is in the Gospels wilderness season that is talked about with Jesus. After he got baptized, he went into a wilderness season and it was gnarly. And we think like, okay, it happened to him. Well, if it happened to him, it's going to happen to us. So we don't get to skip that part. And many of us are going through a wilderness season, not even realizing what it is because it's preparing us for what is next. So here's the definition that I could find when it comes to a wilderness season. In the Bible, a wilderness season is a time of testing and preparation that God uses to transform people into the people he wants them to be. Another definition as well is in the Christian journey, it says the wilderness season is very symbolic. It's the period of heightened trials and temptation. However, it is essential for our growth and fortification to carry out the tasks ahead. And you can read a little bit more of what that looks like in James 1:12. Speaking of the book of James, one of my favorite books. I mean, that book really just lays it down thick and straight up. Like, this is going to happen. This is what you do. This is what's going to happen. This is what you do. The only reason people get confused is because they create their own gray area of like, but I don't want to do that. Well, the Bible's very clear. This is what happens. This is what you're going to do. And there's some where it's open for like, okay, like, what do you mean? Like there's some parables where you're like, okay, I kind of have to read into this a little bit more. But isn't that amazing? Because when you read and you have to dig a little bit more, there is revelation that will come that will change your life forever. Revelation that will come that will change your life forever. And that only happens when you truly, like, really want to know and you do a deeper dive. So take the wilderness season, for example. I've gone through a wilderness season for a number of years. Honestly, I think even right now, I'm still going through it. When I read this definition, I'm like, I'm 100% still going through a wilderness season. And it's been about 4 years now. 4 years of a wilderness season. And I thought like after 2 years, I'm like, maybe I'm on my way out. After 3, maybe I'm on my way out. And like, I'm on year 4 and I'm like, you know what? Like, I know it's coming, but I'm not going to sit there and focus on what's coming in the future. I'm going to steward right now. What do I need to learn? What do I need to die to? Jamie says, was it Jamie? Yeah. Crucifixion of the flesh. Yes. Like, what do I need to give up my own desires in order to become the person God wants me to be, to steward the things that he's given me? Our company, Kingdom Alliance, my marriage, my future family, the people I'm meant to lead. I mean, so on and so forth. There are so many aspects to it. So I get to go through this wilderness season. I get to go through these trials and these temptations to see, am I ready? Am I ready for what's next? And God is not going to give you something before you're ready. I use this example all the time, but it's a powerful one. So I'm going to do it again. Imagine, I think everybody in their lifetime is like, gosh, if I won the Powerball, if I won the lottery, man, that would be so amazing. That would be so amazing. Winning the lottery is actually probably one of the worst things that could happen. Here's why. Most people who win the lottery are worse off. When you get, say it's $100 million, you get $100 million, obviously that's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. And if you don't have the right money mindset, if you don't know how to steward that, you're going to become worse off. A lot of people just get caught up in a lifestyle. They think they're God. They think they're this, that, and the other thing. And then they become worse off. They attract most likely not the people they want to. They attract a lot of attention to themselves. They just think they're untouchable. Like typically that's what happens. So for any of us that are like praying for wealth, praying for more abundance financially, like also pray even harder. Okay, Lord, like work in me so I can become the person that can steward that. Because imagine if you had this thing that you've been working for and you finally got it, but you weren't ready, and then you have it and it just slips through your fingers. Now that's painful. That's painful. So a wilderness season is something that we get to go through. We have to go through. If Jesus did, so will we. So will we. I know this isn't the message necessarily that you want to hear, but this is the whole point of this particular day 4, stewarding the season that you're in. And if you're not really sure exactly what that season is, being like, okay, Lord, like, what season am I in? You could even look at the physical seasons. You look at fall because we're heading into fall, right? Being September, it doesn't feel like it here in Southern California. It's going to be 106 today, but hey, that's our fall. Fall is a time where the dead falls off. The pruning happens. Winter is a time really of like hibernation. You're kind of in a cave season. Behind closed doors, you're growing, just in that place by yourself a lot of the time. But then also don't forget community. Like there's that and. Spring, where things start to bud, seeds start to sprout, and summer is the harvest. What season do you feel like you're in? And be honest with yourself. Not where we want to be. We all know where we all want to be. Oh, we all want to be in that summertime, right? We all want the harvest. But seasons are there for a reason. Physical seasons are there for a reason. Because there has to be a cycle. Dead has to fall off. New has to emerge. But in order for the new to emerge, things need to fall off. when things die, that isn't always comfortable. Actually, never is. Actually, never comfortable. When you look at wineries, for example, in their summer season, spring season, they are flushed. But when the fall, winter season comes around, they prune back 90%. Pruning means cutting. Cutting can be painful, especially 90%. So you have to understand the season that you're in and steward it. Don't just wish it away, steward it. When the hard times come, be grateful. What do I get to learn? How do I get to grow? Your character will grow. You will grow. People will get to grow their faith probably as a byproduct of watching you. All of it is for the good, even though it feels like, gosh, this is the worst thing ever. It will all be used for the good. So the last couple things when it comes to stewarding a season, let's talk about stewarding abundance. When that harvest comes in, what are you going to do with that? How are you going to steward that? How are you going to maximize it? How are you going to grow it? Right? When I think of, take finances, for example, when stuff comes in, investing to make money work for you. So you don't always have to work for it. How are you going to make things work for you? Take network marketing, for example. Inside of our company, we definitely are on this firm foundation of we build leaders who build leaders. So stewarding the abundance that's coming in where we can build more leaders who can lead more people. So it's not just one person doing 100 different things. It's 100 people doing one thing and teaching those people how to do those things, so on and so forth. That's also a form of stewardship. When people come in, how can I show you how to lead? How can I show you how to go fish rather than give the fish to you? A lot of people just want it to be given, but it has to be earned. And in order for things to be earned, minus salvation, in order for things to be earned, there is action required. There's stewarding required before the next can come. So stewarding the moment, stewarding the season that you're in, stewarding everything, you guys, like we could go on and on. But at the end of the day, like when the abundance comes, how are you going to steward it? And not just be like, oh, I want to get this, I want to do that, I want to get this, I want to do that. That's how it just goes away because now you're focusing on I. But bringing the Lord into it, bringing mentors into it, bringing people, your inner circle into it. How can I steward this best? What do you see maybe that I don't? So I can make sure that this is used the way that it should be. I see a lot of amazing, wealthy people, but then they're all like, okay, I got to hoard this. I got to save this. I see a lot of amazing, wealthy people that are massive givers. One of the movies and scenes that I will never forget was in The Sound of Freedom. My husband and I went to go see it in theaters. And I'm sitting there watching the movie. If you haven't watched it, it's about human trafficking. And of course, it's sad. You know, it's sad to see just like how massive of an industry that is. I hate to even say that that's an industry, but it unfortunately is. Fortunately, a lot of people are coming against it and fighting against it. But we're sitting there in theaters, and there is a billionaire, like a multi-billionaire, that is literally funding this sting operation to get these bad guys that are setting up a play, if you will, to get all these kids. And so they set up this sting operation. This billionaire donated millions. And I sat there and I was like, dang. To donate millions of dollars to people you don't even know for an operation that has nothing to do with you, but it's something you believed in. I looked around and I was like, man, did anybody catch that? No. I mean, I don't know, but I don't think so because that was a revelation the Lord gave me. And so he said, hey, there needs to be more wealthy people that are willing to do these big things. But if we sit in this scarcity bubble, we don't steward the seasons that we're in, we don't grow the way we need to grow and be obedient to what he's asking, we are not going to get to this point to truly have change happen. And then he said with Kingdom Alliance, the company that we have created, where it focuses on your personal professional development, like your growth, people get to see the change in you. It's also an opportunity where you can have like limitless income. And guess what? You put money in the hands of kingdom-minded people that are like, Lord, you have blessed me with all of it. You've given me the 90. You're only asking for the 10. You're only asking for the 10. But you know what? I had a really powerful thing spoken to me yesterday by a friend that jumped on my day 3 live. And he said this, Old Testament, Old Testament asks for your first fruit of 10%. But the New Testament, you ready for this? Asks for all of it because all of it belongs to God anyways. So people even struggle just giving the 10 when really it's all his to begin with. So if I become a billionaire, and I can give away millions, that's not really going to make a dent. But what if he asked me to give 50 to 80% away? It's his anyways. It is his anyways. So when I saw that movie in The Sound of Freedom, in that scene, my life was changed forever. And then what we've created in this company, to one of our visions here is to create more Christian millionaires across the globe. Because with kingdom-minded people that are like, Lord, this is all yours anyways, what do you want me to do with it? Imagine what could change. In most movies, get this, in most movies and TV shows, they demonize the wealthy. The person who's after the money, the person who has the money, they're crooked typically. Am I right? They're typically crooked because money has come in and is now has lordship. Money is the most important thing. So they will kill, they will steal, they will destroy for money. So people are like, I don't want to become wealthy because I don't want to do that. Well, then don't. Look at the programming, people. Look at the programming. They are programming you that money is evil. It is not. Money only magnifies who you are. So let's go back. Who are you when it comes to money? Ask the Lord, refine me, grow me, prune me, do whatever you need to do so I can get ready for what is to come. For what is to come. And so those are a couple of revelations that I had, and hopefully that resonates with somebody, because at the end of the day, a lot of the religion out there has locked us and threw away the key of, nope, money is evil. Money is evil. It is not evil. The love of money is evil. Giving it lordship is evil. Money is not evil. It's a tool. It is a tool and it's a resource. And that billionaire in Sound of Freedom, and there's other billionaires that are out there, multimillionaires as well, that are giving so much because they can. Because they want to, because they know it's right. Like, you probably have a big dream vision in your heart. Some of you, maybe, hopefully more of you, because a lot of people have turned that dreamer off. That's a whole nother conversation. But it will take money. It will take money. Lord, how can I steward this season so this vision can come to life? How can I steward any season that I'm in? Whether I'm single, I'm married, I'm in a growth season, a wilderness season, I am in this abundant season. Let's be strategic. Show me where you want me to put this. Show me what you want me to do with this. Like, bringing him into all of it. So I know I went a few minutes over. Actually, who's counting? Doesn't even matter. Normally I just keep this about 30 minutes, but I hope that helps. I hope that you got something from this, and whatever it is that you have gotten from this, please type it in the chat. Keeson says, I've been studying about this, understanding kingdom economics. Yeah, the master's multiplication, nothing like it. Nothing like it. Yes, Michael, no more scarcity. No more poverty mentality. No more poverty mindset. No more. We're done. Like, should have never even been around in the first place. So we're done. And if you're done and you're looking for an opportunity, you're looking for something where it's like, I want to grow with other kingdom people. I want to be the change. Like, drop kingdom in the comments. I would love to connect with you to show you what we're doing, because it has everything to do with what I've shared with today. So I hope you all have a wonderful day. Don't forget, we're live Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. Pacific. On the weekends, 8 a.m. Pacific. And we're going to be here live every day for 30 days till the end of the month. So we'll see you tomorrow for day 5. Bye, everybody.